Are you being gaslighted? Are you being treated in such a way that you're beginning to doubt your own strength, your own clarity, perhaps even your own sanity, your memory? And what is gaslighting anyway? And most importantly, how can you, once you identify it, can you stop it? Can you take back your power and re-energize yourself and become more proactive in your own life? I'm Beverly Banov Brown, and that's our topic today about narcissistic relationships that can involve not only people far along on the narcissistic spectrum of behavior, but also the drama kings, drama queens, and the crazy makers. And if I had to choose one term for all of them, I'd say crazy makers, because they've always got something chaotic, some emergency, some urgent situation going on in their personal lives, in their professional lives, in their families. It just seems to go with the territory. And if you grew up in a family, as so many of us did, where there was a lot of chaotic stuff going on and maybe one or more forms of active addiction, anything from workaholism to alcoholism, rageaholism, so many isms, and so much pain, and so much suffering, and so much that sets you up for a situation where you might be treated in a way that's gaslighting. The term gaslighting came into the language from the 1938 classic movie called Gaslight. It starred Charboyer and the beautiful, amazing actress from Sweden, Ingrid Bergman. And it was very popular in the late 30s and 40s. And then, because it became a classic, because so many people identified with what was going on in the movie, which is quite a reflection on a lot of the relationships people have had, and some still do have, way too many. Even one would be too many. The term gaslighting became very well known. So what is gaslighting? How did it show up in the movie? There were no electric light bulbs in the time that was being depicted in the story, and so there were gas lights that had to be manually adjusted up and down depending on how much illumination was wanted in the room or the hallway or outside. The wife in the picture was played by Ingrid Bergman, as I mentioned, who was at the time, in the beginning of the film, deliriously in love, as I remember, with her husband, played by Charboyer, in the very charming way that only he could do. And she did not realize that he was trying his damnedest to drive her crazy, to make her doubt her own veracity, to make her question her judgment, her memory, her ability to think. That's what he was up to. Up to no good, meaning her only harm. However, pretending, as only narcissists can, that he adored her, that he was in her corner every inch of the way for the rest of their lives. How does this translate into today's use of the term gaslighting? If somebody is treating you in a way that says, if it's important to you, it's not worth listening to. I'll give you an example. I've worked with clients for a number of years now, off and on, who will be coming home from work and say to their husband, I had a very difficult thing happen at work today, and I'd really benefit tremendously from talking to you about it. Let's after dinner, let's just sit down for a few minutes and let me tell you what happened, okay? I'd like your opinion. Instead of being empathetic and saying, oh my God, what a hard day that sounds like, of course, I'm here for you. Let's make a time. Let's take a walk or sit and have a cup of tea, whatever you need. They don't say that at all. What they say is, I'm not going to listen to that crap about your work again. Who needs to hear all that? That's boring. It's boring. You're boring. And words to that effect. Or sometimes you've made plans. I've worked with people who've made plans for 3 weeks in advance, looking forward to a party that they were planning to go on with their mate or their fiance, or whoever it is they're living with, who they have had conversations with about spending the rest of their lives together, and who on the day of the party, when she says to him, I can't wait for tonight, we're going to have such a good time at the so-and-so's party, and he says, what party? I know what you're talking about. And I'm not going to any party anyway. I'm tired, it's been a long week. Buzz off. Yes, there are people who speak to each other exactly that way, and much worse. And that's a form of gaslighting. And what it really is it's that stage where the beguiling, charming, come into my parlor and be my love forever stage has ended, and now they've turned on you, and now they're looking at how can they make you feel like 2 cents or less so that you will never leave them. Yes, because empowered people don't put up with this kind of behavior. Empowered people don't let it get that far. Empowered people who are fully in touch with their own divine nature usually spot someone who behaves this way long before it ever comes to gaslighting. And they're gone on the first time. Or they insist on going and getting some counseling of one sort or another with an expert who has many years of experience working with couples and individuals and families. Another way of gaslighting is to keep negating anything that you say, questioning your memory, questioning your veracity, telling you that you're just trying to put him down all the time and ruin his chances for any kind of success. And it's a pattern. And it becomes one of those situations that leaves you feeling like you can't trust your own judgment, like you can't really be sure that you're sane enough to make important choices, like maybe finding another place to live or finding a new partner, or going within and doing some internal work to see why you might have been enticed by this character in the first place. If you find yourself, let me share some golden nuggets from my heart to yours today that I believe will help you get the clarity you need to make changes. Golden nugget number 1 for today. If you find yourself starting to doubt your own wonderfulness, your own inherent value, your own attractiveness, if you're starting to find that you are isolating yourself from friends, from family, because you don't want to have to make excuses for what's going on or for all the times he didn't show up when he said he would, or promised someone a favor and never followed through, or even bothered to call and tell them why he couldn't follow through. If you're finding that you're having trouble focusing and following your interests and doing your work, and your sleep is disturbed, and maybe you're feeling depressed, maybe you're feeling bits of hopelessness coming in and wondering why you were once happy and now you're not, why there is this sense of terrible discontentment brewing inside your chest or your solar plexus or your shoulders or any other part of your body, or maybe all of your body. That's a sign that abuse is going on, and gaslighting, as I said before. But I'm going to repeat it because it's so important to your well-being. Gaslighting may be going on in one or more of its devastatingly painful and terribly hurtful forms. So, here's an action plan of golden nuggets about what to do if you feel this is really happening. Number 1, get help. Don't go underground with it and hide or isolate. Talk to professionals who've had years of experience with this. There is help available. You must reach out. Pray, golden nugget number 2 on this one. Pray, meditate, reflect, go within, do breathing, get still, as the 46th Psalm says. Peace, be still and know. We have to be quiet sometimes to get to listen to the clarity beyond that monkey mind that's going 1,000 miles a minute and telling you conflicting messages like your so-called partner is. Next golden nugget. Be sure that the voice you're hearing inside of yourself is not an internalized version of the abuse that he may be giving you. One of the greatest dangers of this kind of situation, as is the childhood BS, or belief systems that may have been internalized in you that may be triggered by this partner or prospective partner, is that we can start to believe that's really our voice. That's not your real voice. That's a voice of fear. That's a voice of the ego. That is not about love. That is about fear. That is about limitation and lack and keeping you down. And nobody on this earth has the right to keep down your brilliance and your light and your vivacity and your life force. Because you are here to do great things and be great light on this earth. And anything and anyone who tries to negate that truth is not necessarily somebody who you want to hang out with indefinitely. I'm sorry to have to say this because I know so many people have been misled, have had promises made, and the narcissist, the crazy maker, drama king or queen, usually, unless they're really sadistic, has believed at the time that the promises were made, that they had the staying power and the steadfastness to carry through. But that's the problem. There is no significant, there is no significant carry through. A little water always helps. When you're dealing with people who have such emotional challenges within themselves. We can only give what we have. And if they don't have emotional stability, and look at their lives, gauge how effectively are they living, how in balance are they, you'll see. In most cases, they're not doing all that well in how they treat themselves, physically, materially, financially, emotionally, spiritually. So how then can they be expected to adore and treasure you in any kind of stable way? The truth is, in most cases, they can't. Once you've decided, next golden nugget, what your course of action needs to be, if they refuse to get any kind of coaching, you're not dependent on them. You get the coaching. You get the counseling. You go get help. Because something in you perhaps may need strengthening and bolstering now to more than compensate for whatever the frailty was within that allowed you to attract this situation and to let it be perpetuated to this point. No blaming, only looking to illuminate and liberate you from a situation that may not be in your best interest. Ask yourself, next golden nugget, if I continue in this relationship the way it is currently going, what will it be like 6 months from now? How functional will I be a year from now? How well will my health, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually be 5 years from now? Is this really the direction that brings me joy, or even a modicum of contentment? And if the answer is no, you know you've got to make a change. I'm Beverly Banov Brown. You're in my loving prayers. I know you can make the changes you need to make, whether you choose to stay or go. You can do it. Bye for now.